This week, we're taking a little break from making tech tutorials, and instead, we are taking a little journey to Burlington, Vermont, to meet three very different full-time video creators. Their subjects range from documenting life on a farm, to 3D printed unnecessary inventions, to documenting local history. Part of why I wanted to do this is because I've always found it fascinating how artists of all types end up developing their own creative process, which allows them to translate a concept in their head into a finished product. We begin this journey with Eva Sollberger.
My name is Eva Sol Berger. I live in Burlington, Vermont, and I've been making the video series Stuck in Vermont for the past 13 years, and there's over 600 videos.
We've been stuck in the mud and snow, on the wind used me on a paddleboard, stuck in the pace car at Thunder Road. We're stuck in Vermont, stuck in Vermont.
I interview people all over the state about who they are, what they do. My focus generally tends to be art and culture. And I also am really drawn to quirky people who have an unusual story to tell. I kind of think of myself as the quirky version of Vermont, what you don't see in the Vermont tourist ads. I'm just an artist who loves making videos, and I almost feel like I'm collaborating with my subjects. The process of meeting them, finding them, figuring out how to interview them, what to film them doing, and then spending 4 days editing. I do a lot of editing. And I feel like I'm creating these little miniature documentaries, and I was doing them every week for 13 years. So the adrenaline and the stress of that deadline and shaping this video out of nothing and then creating it and throwing it out and sharing it with the world and getting feedback on it and having people say, I had no idea that was in Vermont or that person existed. That to me is a real high. I would say to young people, film school is your jam, do it for sure. Personally, it wasn't for me. I just feel like you have to go out there and do it. Go out there and make whatever it is that makes your heart beat fast. And if there's stuff you don't know, team up with people who know how to do it and you'll learn it. I would definitely stress, don't be afraid of failing. It's okay to suck. It's okay to put out something that isn't perfect. Nothing is perfect. I always look at my old videos and I'm partially mortified, and I'm also partially excited because the essence of Stuck in Vermont is in those old videos, because that's me and I am the thread that ties them all together. And it's okay if they're rough around the edges. It's okay if, the lighting's not great in one scene or the audio could be a little rocky in another, but that's what makes art. It can be rough around the edges, so go out there, try it, experiment, fail, succeed, and don't be afraid to just dive right in.
Release the Kraken! So the type of video I make is, I make videos that just basically document life on our farm and teach people about what's going on with our farm. When I first started the farm, I actually started a YouTube channel right along with it. My thinking was this: look, I'm gonna make all these farm products and I'm gonna have all this stuff, and I'm gonna need to find an audience of people to buy this stuff and create a market. And so I wanted to find a way to promote the farm and the brand of the farm and create that marketplace for my products. And so I figured, what the heck, let's try YouTube. Whether we're dealing with predators, or I'm training a livestock guardian dog, or I'm trying to hatch some baby ducklings, each of those things can ultimately become a story. And really what I'm trying to do with each video I make is tell just a mini story, which when you put all of those little stories together, ladders up to this bigger story of a dude who has no business or experience farming, learning how to become an actual farmer. My creative process is pretty straightforward because so much of what I'm doing is just documenting what's going on the farm. I usually think of a topic. It's either a question that somebody's asked me about the farm, or a situation that we're trying to deal with on the farm, or it's a project I need to build on the farm, and I say that's going to be my story. And then I try to think about, well, what's the title and what's the thumbnail that's going to get people engaged and interested in that story, because ultimately if you can't market your videos, you're never going to be able to get people to follow along and become your audience. And so thinking about how I get people in the door becomes that next step. Then I'm thinking about, well, what's that first minute or two? Because that's so important in terms of getting people hooked and getting people to want to keep watching. And so what I'll do is just on a piece of paper, write down each of those things and get a sense of what the video is going to be about. Then I'll walk outside and start doing my chores for the day and start trying to shoot that video. I will usually try to shoot as efficiently as possible because I find that the more footage you shoot, the longer you have to spend editing and the more time you're going to have to suck up. And because I'm, again, so time constrained, I find having an efficient shooting process leads itself to really having an efficient editing process. I usually shoot somewhere in the neighborhood between an hour and say 3 hours of video footage when I'm making a video. I will take all that footage, bring it inside, I dump it onto an external hard drive, and I try to back up everything. The big reason I try to back up so much stuff is because my videos, I try to make them very B-roll heavy, and saving all that old content and old footage from previous videos becomes excellent B-roll where I can either show progress, like look at how much this duck has grown. You know, a funny story about him. When he was first hatched, he was kind of a weird looking duckling.
He is now grown up, he's fully grown, he is an adult drake duck, and he has just grown to be an absolutely massive duck.
So I'm very careful about storing and organizing that footage. Once I've got it dumped off to that hard drive, I bring it into Adobe Premiere and I go through and I basically do one full review of all my footage and pull and mark every shot that I think is useful. Take all those shots in one bin and bring them out, and I start to break them down onto a timeline and actually make a video. And that's where sort of the creative process comes. I find the logging process to be very painful and laborious, but I find once I have all my shots logged and once I have them all sitting in a bin, it's like the greatest feeling in the world. And I sort of will just get myself a cup of tea and sit back and then just start making a video.
Everyone loves their Apple AirPods, but when you lose one, it can be the absolute worst. That's why you need to upgrade your AirPod to a Megapod. Enjoy all of your favorite hilarious YouTube videos. You can even catch up with all your best friends. And best of all, you'll never lose it due to its massive size. So ditch those old AirPods and go Megapod. The Megapod is not actually associated with Apple or AirPods at all, so please do not send me a cease and desist.
So my name is Matt Benedetto, and I call myself the evil genius behind Unnecessary Inventions. Here are the completely ridiculous products that I've made over the past year. An unnecessary invention is a product that solves a problem that probably doesn't actually exist in the world. They might help you do something, but it's gonna be a few steps longer and it's just gonna make your life a little bit more difficult. As a self-taught product designer, I'm always coming up with ideas for new products, and some of them along the way are just completely stupid and ridiculous. So over the years, I would kind of take some of those ideas and bring them to life through a manufacturer to create a sample. And then once I got that sample in my hand, I knew that I never wanted to manufacture it. And once I got into 3D printing over the past year, I started bringing some of these ideas to life kind of more rapidly every single week, and they just have taken on a life of their own on the internet. So this has been one of my most popular inventions. Technically called the Gator Grips because I got a cease and desist letter from Crocs, because they were originally called the Croc Gloves. And the one kind of secret behind these is that I couldn't actually get them on without ripping them open. So any photo you ever see me on the internet with them on, you're either only looking at my back of my hand, or I have both of my palms together so that you can't see that they're completely ripped open. So this one was probably one of my most viral creations over the past year.
Please welcome Matt Benedetto! These are earrings?
No, they are called the tear rings.
The tear rings.
Yes, and so it'd be good for some of your guests. Adam, you want to try?
Let's do it. You're doing so well.
Okay.
Yeah. We have earrings.
And so maybe Adam has an emotional story that he has, and he starts to cry. And instead of bringing him
And
some,
they're so comfortable, Matt.
well, I designed everything for me and nobody
Okay.
else. And so yeah, so
You need a little tissue. Just
and you
get
can
that
just
eye.
wipe your eyes.
Yeah.
Maybe start crying, or you're laughing too much at his amazing
Yeah.
joke.
Yeah. One of these, or if you're a little boogie, you can
Yeah, just
take
get
care of
in
that.
there.
Another favorite, also one of my early viral hits, was the cuisine curtain. So if you know people that chew with their mouth open. You can easily hide their mouth while they're chewing with their mouth open. And this one was fun because they always tagged a friend, like someone would tag their cousin and be like, oh, Uncle Jerry definitely needs that at Thanksgiving. So that one was fun. So all of these ideas work to some capacity in one fashion or another, but I do a lot of photo and video editing to make it look like they work a lot better. So I would say my personal biggest struggle is when I'm creating my YouTube videos, is coming up with an invention that actually works the way I say it's gonna work. You know, in the video, when I'm showing how to build it and everything, I have to make sure that, you know, I'm creating the story of, okay, I have this idea, I want it to work this way, I show them how it's made, and at the end of the video, I want the product to actually work the way I said it was going to. So sort of kind of creating that story and having a good idea from the start that I know I'll be able to like sort of take from that full circle, so that it creates an entertaining video that isn't just like, I had this idea and oh, just kidding, it doesn't work. Yeah, and I can put these ones on too. Oh, wardrobe malfunction.
Oh, did I lose one? Oh no! Doesn't actually work.
Oh, there is a speaker.
Oh, it does work. Okay.
Yeah, but you have to get a rod and you have to stick the rod up to hit the power button on the speaker that's built inside.